I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV Velocities in Music, the best kept secret in music reviews. Today, we are going to review, as promised from yesterday's review of Vampire Weekend's first album,
yes.
We're going to review the third album, which just came out, Modern Vampires of the City. Tom and I, now well-versed and on the same page in Vampire Weekend,
yes.
chronology, and musicality, and discography. We're on the same page in all these things now. We understand where we're coming from. We feel aptly prepared to kind of dissect Modern Vampires of the City. As we said in our previous review, Vampire Weekend, this is their third album. These guys are a very experimental indie pop outfit. They are constantly reaching to change their sound and play with new ideas in song structures and sonic palettes and lyrics. I mean, Ezra Koenig is known for how playful his lyrics can be and how coy they can be at times, which we're going to get to in this review. But Modern Vampires of the City definitely takes the experimentation to the next level. You hear more piano on this album. You hear a lot of strings, which you've heard throughout. They even do vocal pitch shifting, which I know is really popular right now. They're pretty tactful most of the time in how they do it. It's not like Fun's album.
It's not like traditional auto-tune that you hear in pop singers now. It's obviously meant to be an obvious production.
Right. Now, another big change that I noticed on this album is that there is some really moody tracks on this album where they tried to go after a moody feel, and they even changed the instrumental composition to fit that. Like the drums will change to fit where you don't have the punk drums.
They're brought back a little bit.
Yeah. And they change styles, whether it's on the ride cymbal or if it's like a march, then they're doing the march with the snare. So I mean, they're changing it up.
And even some of the more upbeat songs, tempo-wise and mood-wise, are still have a sentimentality to them that you didn't really hear on their first couple albums. I'm pointing directly at songs like Worship You and Unbelievers. Unbelievers, for me, being probably one of the best songs I've heard all year.
Oh, yeah.
Musically, lyrically, I mean, I always look forward to listening to that song. And while it is kind of upbeat and kind of positive but skeptical on an issue such as religion, that's kind of a touchy subject, I think they tackle it quite nicely. It's still got that sentimental vibe to it.
I totally agree. And one thing that they're doing on this album is some of the tracks that are upbeat are really kind of faster tempo too. Yeah. And then some of the tracks that are more ballad-esque, like track 5, Don't Lie, and track 6, Hannah Hunt, right in a row, by the way. Those tracks are a little bit slower in tempo, and they're softer too. So you really have a dichotomy of two different types of tracks on this album. Now, I really want to hit on that because that, I think, makes this record a little polarizing.
Yeah.
I feel like, a lot of us are conditioned from previous Vampire Weekend releases to really like the upbeat tracks. Now, I think that Vampire Weekend is quite good at writing the slower tracks. It's just that they're less catchy, so you have to work a little bit harder, dig a little bit deeper to get anything out of them. Now, to be honest with you, I just naturally favored some of the more upbeat tracks. The front half of this album had a lot of them. Unbelievers, Step, and Diane Young in the first, half of the album, and even the first track is it's kind of soft to start, but I still feel like those songs are all really good right in a row, and then you get huge drop off in intensity.
I totally agree. Yeah, especially let's go ahead and talk right now about track 4, Diane Young.
Okay.
Because I had a funny experience with this song because the first I heard anything of this album was actually I saw Vampire Weekend perform on Saturday Night Live, and the two songs they played were Diane Young and Unbelievers.
Oh wow!
And so the first song they played was Diane Young, and I really didn't like it. I was like, okay, this song's really short. It doesn't really go anywhere. It says baby a lot, like Justin Bieber level saying baby in a song. And
did you look it up?
I did look it up.
Did you actually listen to Justin Bieber's Baby?
No, I just Googled how many times does Justin Bieber say baby in that song.
I thought you stooped to a new level.
No, no, I would never subject myself to that willingly. But
we already did.
After that one time. That one time. But that song, I really didn't like it. I listened to it as a single, and I liked it a little bit more because I think that the production does a good job of bringing out the intensity, whereas the live performance didn't. But then where I really fell in love with that track was listening to it in the context of the album. Because the first 3 tracks, while they do mix in some more upbeat stuff, they're still, I feel, very sentimental bass tracks. And then Diane Young hits like a brick wall. You just run right into it, and it just pounds at you through the whole thing. And I just thought that was a great switch up because it had so much more of an impact in that context.
Yeah. in the vocal hook. And,
Yeah.
and I mean, wow. I am blown away by Diane Young. And man, just the lyrics. I mean, that's such a coy play on words. Diane Young, like dying young. And as Tom, you pointed out before we turned the camera on, that's a metaphor for dying young. I mean, it's personifying it in that way is just, it just sucks you in and just makes you realize that they're really talented at creating these tracks and then just beating them into your head. I showed this to my little brother Coleman, who's been on the show a couple times, and I was like, this is gonna get stuck in your head. And I played that song, and he was singing it all night long. You can't not get Diane Young stuck in your head when you listen to it. It will be stuck there. Now, going on to the back half of the album, it's a little bit not as packed with quality material. I think pretty much everyone is going to be able to say, yeah, there's a lot of really good songs on the front half. Now, I still like most of the tracks on the back half, but really the only ones that stick out to me as big highlights are track 8, Fingerback, and track 10, Ya Hey. Now, Ya Hey is my favorite track on the album. I feel like that is Vampire Weekend's, to me, the most complex song that they've ever written. It's the catchiest song that they've ever written, and that gimmick that they use with the chipmunk vocals, it just, how can you not love that? Tom, tell me how you don't love that. I don't get it.
It just turns me off so much.
It's really polarizing.
Yeah, I know. And which I respect them for the fact that they did not give a shit whether they just knew that that's what they want to do with their song. I always respect artists who have that approach to their music. But of course, some people are gonna like it and some people don't. I think that song is great, except for those like 15-second windows where they have yo, like, now it sounds like I'm trying to yodel, but imagine that like 4 octaves up.
He kind of does yodel in worship.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
No, I totally get it, and people, and I think that song is gonna hit people differently.
Yeah.
Either you're gonna like it or you're gonna hate it, and there's really no in between. I feel like you're either going to like it or hate it, and that's like gonna affect how much you like that song. I feel like though, if you do like it, that makes the whole back half of this album a lot more enjoyable to go through because you don't have to like cringe every time you hear that. So I find that I can't get that song out of my head. Now, the last 2 tracks I didn't feel like were quite as strong. I wish they would have ended the album a little bit more strongly, and the sag in the middle with having the 2 ballads right next to each other.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of Don't Lie or Hannah Hunt. Everlasting Arms was okay, and then Worship You I didn't really like either. So the back half for me had quite a few tracks that just weren't up to par with what they presented in those first 4 tracks.
Yeah.
I can't say that there were any that I absolutely hated, but it's just I just felt like I kind of mentally just fell asleep during those sections.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, we seem to agree on most things about this album, but I think that what we agree on and what like our likes and dislikes on this album are, I think, just affected me more because I absolutely love the tracks that I love. Like my track picks, Unbelievers, Step, Diane Young, Fingerback, and Ya Hey. Those songs are, like, I'm in love with those songs. I can listen to them all day long.
Yeah.
And the other tracks, I like. I don't dislike them, but I haven't, like, fallen in love with them. So I'm liking this album on the whole. The more I listen to it, the more I'm liking it, because I'm starting to dig at some of those other tracks, too, and realize there's a lot of cool things here. Even if they're not my favorite songs, I still like them. So I think I'm going to go 84 on this album.
I'm going to go 74.
Okay.
Now, we're quite a ways apart there, but as Jake said, we actually agree on a lot of things. It's just how much it impacts your listening experience. Right. For me, the weaker tracks, I still didn't quite like as much as this guy, and the stronger tracks, while I did really like them, it's still just, you know, they're not my band. They're not meant to make music for me, and that's alright.
But you did come up on the debut.
I did.
Pretty significantly.
I did.
I'm going to mark that as a victory.
Alright.
I
will give you that one.
Thank you. I mean, I did change my mind about metal music just for you.
That's true. Yes.
I mean, just one or two albums here and there for me. Just throw me a bone.
We have to make this work somehow.
Yeah, somehow this, you know, crazy marriage of music we have going on. Guys, what did you think about Modern Vampires of the City? Leave us a comment at www.velocitiesandmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesandmusic. Also, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and, you know, get in touch with us about albums that you're into from 2013 that you would love to see us review. And also, let us know about this new lighting setup. Good news, we have a new camera on the way. We're really excited about it. It'll be here in a few reviews. So leave us a comment. We'd love to hear your feedback about just about anything. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Moving Music Critique Forward.
Got a little soul, the world is a cold, cold place to be. Want a little